INA and Subhash Bose's leadership of it is that it represented people who felt liberated from almost 100 years of mental slavery which the British had imposed on India. See, Subhash Bose represented a person who was a liberated Indian. He qualified in ICS, he was a brilliant student, and he threw it away. I don't think there's a comparable leader who performed academically so well amongst the political leaders as Subhash Bose. Subhash Bose's contribution through the INA was that he created a cadre of people who thought of nation first. And most of his slogans today fired the imagination of the Indian. Jai Hind is his, and Dilli Chalo is another. But more important is that Subhash Bose was a thinker. So he spoke about what we are fighting for, not only to drive the British, but what will happen afterwards. Economic planning is actually Subhash Bose's brainchild. It is not Jawaharlal Nehru's. Jawaharlal Nehru may have taken credit, but it was Subhash Bose who in 1938 introduced the concept that India must do economic planning. Subhash Bose's contribution to mind control, spiritualism, he at one stage at very high toyed the idea of becoming a monk in Ramakrishna Math. But you see, look at what his mind control is. He boarded a submarine in Germany and went all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, all the way up to Singapore and then to Tokyo. Imagine the journey in a foreign submarine ship and going undetected at the time of World War II, when he could have easily been sunk. That requires mind control. I mean, imagine sitting 24 hours a day in a place and not being depressed or become reckless and so on. That mind control. And so I think he also exemplified what he taught, and the INA went through very, very bad conditions during the war. The Japanese were not able to sustain the support when they reached India. So, and Japan itself was losing. But at no stage the INA ever was known as an army which didn't die fighting. So I think the contribution of INA will always be remembered in history as the catalyst. See, the term catalyst in chemistry is that you are part of a chemical process, but you're not merged into it. The same way the INA was not part of the Gandhian non-violence movement, but you accelerated the thought process, and I think the dedication, sacrifice, valor, these are things which today we proudly look back when we think of the INA.
Thank you. So Dr. Swamy, your views on the fact that there is Japanese soldiers who were associated with the INA.
Yes.
They are doing a reunion in memory of Neta Ji. Sure. What do you think about this event?
Well, it's necessary because after all, it was a revolutionary time. Of course, Japan lost the war, so many people don't want to remember many things about Japan. But in India, we have always had a soft corner for the assistance given by Japan to Subhash Chandra Bose. And this is reflected by the fact that we are the only country which didn't seek reparations from Japan after World War II. Now, Subhash Bose did what was considered impossible in those days, that he collected at least 50,000 soldiers, and these soldiers were those who were defeated while they were part of the British Army, or some who have volunteered and so on. And he built it into an army which temporarily did liberate India. Indian national flag was first unfurled in Port Blair in Andamans, then later on in Nagaland and Manipur, etc. And well, certainly Subhash Bose was not able to drive out the British from India physically. But all political revolutions are not physical successes. It depends on what they do to the mind. In Rajasthan, Rana Pratap did not win the major battles, but he lived quite badly. He was badly persecuted, so ultimately he had to live in a forest and make chapatis out of dried grass. But today in Rajasthan, people remember Rana Pratap for his valor, and we have throughout history always placed valor, courage, sacrifice above victory. Victory also we respect, but that comes second. Take for example, besides Rana Pratap, you go to any other part of India, you go to Tamil Nadu, there is a man called Kattabomman, a Raja, who the British hanged in public. He is respected. And if you ask who fought the British, they will first give the name of Kattabomman. You go to Karnataka, Rani Chennamma, Rani Jhansi. These people all lost. And Subhash Bose may have lost, but he created so much fear in the British that but for him, the British would not have left India. The British decision to leave India, and you can imagine the atmosphere at that time. Britain had won World War II. They had been perceived as one of the most powerful countries of the world. And the man who led it was Winston Churchill. At that time, he was still Prime Minister. He hadn't been defeated in the election. So at that time, the name of Subhash Bose is what revived India, because Quit India movement had great effect on the mind of the people, but it was a failure. And the spirits of Indian freedom fighters was down in 1944. And after the British won the war, it was even more down, because people thought that the British would be defeated and then we will get freedom. But actually the British won the war. But when the naval forces, the INA trials, the British saw the atmosphere that had been built, and the name of Subhash Bose instilled so much devotion that at that stage, as Payment Attlee told later on a private visit to India in 1948, he told the Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court that it was Subhash Bose's threat, Subhash Bose's threat which actually made them decide, now we have to leave. Mahatma Gandhi was convenient because they could hand the power to him. And they knew that Mahatma Gandhi would not chase him. And therefore, somehow Subhash Bose's legacy must be aborted. And but we have to leave anyway, because it's only a matter of time before, in the name of Subhash Bose, the whole country would go up in arms. And then the British are no match. You see, the British are always in small numbers. I mean, even at the height of World War II, there were only 100,000. Generally, there were 15,000, 20,000. Now, if India rose as one, then the British knew that when 10,000, 20,000 troops is nothing. So it's really the mind. And that's what Subhash Bose liberated. You know, Mahatma Gandhi did it in his own way, but Subhash Bose fired the imagination of people, and the revolt of the revolt of the navy, the revolt of soldiers in different parts of the country, that scared the British to leave. So I would say that Subhash Bose has along with Mahatma Gandhi, because Mahatma Gandhi built an organization. Subhash Bose didn't have time to build an organization or the opportunity. In fact, when he was elected President of the Congress, he was literally made to leave it. But fact of the matter is that Subhash Bose did what was the most important in any country, the mindset. As you know, people, we can fight, that the spirit he still. The great tragedy that we still don't know what happened to Subhash Bose. And we know that he didn't die in the air crash. What really happened, some of the stories we have heard are very disturbing. And the fact that the governments consistently refuse to declassify files shows that there's something rotten that had happened, which made Subhash Bose disappear. And but his memory will live on forever. And I'm very glad that functions such as reunification or the getting together of former soldiers who served with Subhash Bose is being happening in Tokyo. Tokyo is a place which was dear to Subhash Bose and therefore dear to India. And I would congratulate the organizers for thinking of this.